This beautiful, impassioned prayer that Jesus prays for his disciples probably also gave you a little bit of trouble following. And there's a lot of thoughts strung together there. But basically what Jesus prays to his Father is this: what will happen now to my disciples? This is Jesus' last night with them before he's arrested and crucified. And we hear his heart, his anxiety. He knows the danger in the world. We hear him pray for his disciples. How will they continue with the mission that he has handed on to them? He isn't worried about himself. He's prepared to do his Father's will. It's for his disciples he prays, knowing their vulnerability. And he prays with such moving emotion. And you know what? We know this feeling. We know it because we arrive at moments in our lives, key moments that bring change, and we wonder too, what will happen now? What will happen now? Next, or 2 Sundays from now, we'll be blessing and praying for graduates on Sunday, May 31st, so be sure you get their names in. And in that occasion, both parents and graduates will step into an unknown territory. Our children who have lived under our roof, whom we've supported and influenced, whom we've guided in faith, now enter a bigger world. And as a church, we work to keep in touch with them, to keep encouraging them, to help them continue to worship, to find a local church. We want them to keep serving in God's world. I think we have done a discredit to our young adults with the idea that okay, there you go. You're off on your own now to figure it out. Growing in faith doesn't mean to disavow our faith. It means to ask deeper questions, to sink deeper roots. We shouldn't abandon our young adults at the very moment when they need that connectedness still and that sense of belonging still as they go out into the big world. You saw for the children's sermon a bunch of connect the dot activity books. Because as I listened to Jesus' prayer, that's what I heard. He's talking about staying connected and that importance of belonging. Just a few phrases from our gospel reading. They were yours, you gave them to me, all mine are yours and yours are mine. Protect them so that we may continue to be one. I have not lost any that you gave me. You hear this. You hear this clearly. And that Jesus is worried that they might become lost and disconnected in the world. So he prays, keep us linked. That's what I want us to hear today. This vitalness of being connected and belonging. Through this prayer, through this gospel. I know I've spoken with you before. It's another opportunity to remind you that in the readings of the New Testament, when you hear the word you, just assume that it's plural because it almost always is. So it's a y'all, and it makes a big difference. So when you hear these readings, just think, y'all, you all connected, you all moving in concert in one with God the Father and the Spirit in your hearts. You all together go. You all together be. You all together share. You all together feed. Meanwhile, in the 21st century, in social, political, and economic dynamics, that message is completely eroded by the strong individualism, even consumerism of our lives. And the world just offers up a whole menu of alternatives. Did you catch the splash in the news made by the latest Pew research study this week? It says the share of young adults who say they have no religious affiliation is going up, And this has created a new religious label. I don't know if you've heard of the nuns, not N-U-N-S, N-O-N-E-S, the nuns. So it's people who are not religiously affiliated, the nuns. Now here's the problem with a label like that. I don't like it anyway, but saying that we have no affiliation, that's just deceiving ourselves, because we will be connected and belong to something. The world is ready to fill any vacuum there, be it ideological, personal, just whatever, social. We might think of ourselves as free agents, but nothing is further from the truth, whether we acknowledge it or not. I mean, unless you live on top of a mountain or in a deep cave, the world's going to draw you into belonging and connecting to something. So here's one I thought of that we all see, and that's the perks and rewards clubs, right? I'm proud to say I do not associate with perks and reward clubs. And I know there's, savings to be had and stuff, but I just don't like it. Like every business corporation wants a piece of us, right? Just remember, it's like this is not belonging, it's the opposite. You're a commodity, you're a transaction. You got any loose change in the pocket, that's what they're after, right? I mean, our consumer identities are hotly pursued. Jim bought a set of wine goblets. So our daughter-in-law, Emily's sister, Kate and Ben, are getting married next weekend. And so we wanted to, he got online and went to their wedding registry, ordered up wine goblets on the list. Well, like right after that, and ever since then now, every time Jim goes, even just to look at the news on Comcast or Google News or something, all these ads for wine goblets, the computer says Jim needs to buy more wine goblets. For me, it's this, for 6 months, it's been this blue and green dress from something called Zulily. I've never even bought from Zulily. But hey, you know what? I'm proud because the internet doesn't know what else to put up there, so they just keep showing me the green and blue dress. Oh. To be in the world but not of it can be a good thing for our wallets. In fact, our spiritual practices group this month is to not purchase anything, so. As I was reading up for on this text, I found a sermon from a number of years ago. I think it was 2009. It was a pastor in North Carolina talking about being in the world but not of it, and trying to make that distinction. And he was kind of rambling in his sermon. He didn't think it was very good, and he sort of made a comment about his community. And I'm just talking about, he said, we drink too much. And in this I want to be careful because there's drinking that's an illness, that's an addiction, but he was talking about just kind of social drinking and maybe being careless about that, okay? And, when we want to relax or we're upset about something, or we just almost feel like we have to have it there at a social setting. And he looked up into the faces of his congregation. He saw he struck a mark. And people he couldn't explain it, but so he went with that and he said, how about this during Lent? We give up that social drink. And instead, or that bottle of wine you were going to buy, and put that in a jar for Lutheran World Relief. Now, I didn't get a chance to look up the church, so I don't know what size it is, but at the end of Lent, this congregation collected $100,000. Isn't that amazing? To be in the world but not of it. To be present and active as Christ. Just by changing one thing that the world offers up, you see.